Hello, I'm Paul Andrews and welcome to another episode of Sunday Strummer. In this week's episode we'll be looking at Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. Now it's a great one for a beginner student. It's only 4 chords and all we kind of typical, G, C, D, E minor, your typical kind of 4 chords. It's a good little strummer. It's fairly quick changing, but we'll talk about a few techniques and a few ways of approaching that to obviously make it a little bit easier. So let's break it down. We'll go through each section. There's an intro, there's a verse which includes part of the intro, just a little bit extra, and a chorus. So zoom in and take a look at the chords. The first chord is G, and this is first finger, 2nd fret of the A string, 2nd finger, 3rd fret of the low E, string 6, and 3rd finger, top E, fret 3, so string 1. And you strum all 6 strings for this one. Now what you could also do a 4-finger G, which is 3rd finger moved up to the B string, fret 3, and little fingers underneath it on the E. So the 4-finger G has a bit more of a fuller sound because we'll hold down all strings. And also is going to make the movement from the G chord to the D chord that we're going to look at shortly. So that's our G chord. So 1st finger on the A2, 2nd finger on the E3, so low E, 6th string, and then 3rd finger on the high E, or string 1. Or 3rd finger on the B string, fret 3, and little finger on the high E, fret 3. Again, all 6 strings. Next chord C, 1st finger on B1, 2nd finger D2, 3rd finger A3. So you end up with this diagonal shape. Problem with C is you've got to make sure that your 2nd finger isn't touching the G string, which is in between the 1st finger and the 2nd. So you want it open, you don't want it muted. So just make sure your fingers are nice and straight, upright. Get a nice clean chord. Pick each string one at a time. Make sure they sound nice and clear. Next chord up is D, our little triangular shape. And we have 1st finger on the G2, 2nd finger on the E2, and 3rd finger on the B3. And that's 4 strings from the D string down. As said before, if you're doing the 4-finger G, that makes the transition to D quite easy because you can keep your 3rd finger still. You don't have to remove it from the B3 because it's the same note in both chords. So that's quite nice. And the very last chord, we've got E minor, 2 fingers. So 1st finger on the A2 and 2nd finger on the D2. And that's all 6 strings as well. So just to recap that, we've got the G chord, 3 fingers, or 4-finger version, strumming all 6 strings. We've got the C chord, just strumming 5 strings, so A string down, so just from the A string down, or the D chord, which is our little triangle shape, D down for that one, and then E minor, all 6. Okay, so we've got the chords. It's now time to start putting the song together. Let's look at the intro. It goes G, C, G, and D. So G, C, G, and D. And I'd start off just with one strum. Always a good thing to do when approaching a song for the first time is just one strum per chord. Take out the strum pattern and just try and get those changes in place. Work out where your bars are. So it's 1 bar per chord. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4. And it goes around twice for the intro. Those 4 bars. So G, C, G, D, 4 bars around twice. And it's kind of as simple as that. Just one strum. Then you can start building up the strum pattern if you want to. We'll really look at that when we get to the verse. So start trying to move between those chords. G, C, as you can see, it's a complete change. There's no real shortcuts there. But try and get that 1st finger down first, stack up. Eventually then start trying to put in different fingers first, to the point where you can then just all fall at the same time. That's obviously what we want to aim for. When you then go back to G and to D, as we said before, there's a great shortcut if you use the 4-finger G there. You just drop down those 2 fingers, keep the 3rd finger still, makes a really smooth, quick transition. So that's the intro, that's the main chord pattern really of the song, G, C, G, D. So just you looping that around, try and get your chords nice and quick. And then yes, next we shall look at the verse. Okay, so let's look at the verse. And the verse starts like the intro, 4 times around the intro, if you like, or 4 bars, which is G, C, G, and D. So 4 times around that loop, 4 times around those 4 bars. Then we're going to the bridge, or you can think of it just like this end bit of the verse, if you like. And we're going C, D, G, E minor. And when you got that E minor, from your G, you can just swing your second finger underneath your first. First finger can stay down, stay rooted, and second finger swings underneath it. You probably have to move it back to squeeze it in. So there might be a little bit of movement there, but try and keep first finger down. So you've got G, E minor. So that was C, D, G, E minor. We go around a second time, C, then D, G, and then D on the end. So let's go around one more time. So C, D, G, E minor, back to C, then D, G, and then D to finish. Now, first time we go through the verse, that D then takes us, it's one bar of the D, which takes us into the second verse. After the second verse, that bar of D is then 3 bars of D, which then takes us into the chorus. So for the first verse, it's just 1 bar of D into second verse. After you're on the second verse, it's 3 bars of D into the chorus. And then the third verse is then the same. We do 3 bars of D, takes into the last chorus. Right, now let's talk about strum patterns. Again, when approaching this song, I know I said about it, and when we look at the chords, or the intro, sorry, 1 strum per bar, just to get a feel for where the chords fit and where the bars are and get used to the feel of the song. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you got that, then start trying to do 2 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then obviously 3 strums. So you can see where I'm going here. Then 4 strums. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we end up doing a strum on every beat of the bar. You can then start bringing in some up strums, which will make it a bit more interesting. So that'll be down, down, up, maybe. So be on beat 2. So I go down, down, up, down, down. Or 1, 2, and 3, 4. You can even take out that 4th down to give a bit more time to change. So it can be down, down, up, down, 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 up, down. I can see it gives you a little time to manoeuvre. So that's me to C, because that's a tricky change. Got to move all your fingers. Then we can start building up more, so maybe an up on beat 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and. Then bring in beat 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And then you can even do an up strum on beat 4. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Now, quite a nice little cheat, if you like, or shortcut when changing the chords, is on that last up strum of beat 4, you actually are doing open strings. So you're going 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So as you're moving to the next shape, you hit the up strums, open strings, then you're ready to go down on that beat 1 of the next bar. So that would be down, down, up, down, up, down, up. I'm off, ready for the down of the second bar. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. When it's up to speed, you don't hear it's in the mix and it'll work fine. You see that a lot in songs, especially when it's quick changes. Quite often there'll be an up strum, or the last up strum will be open strings to help get that speed of change. So that's the verse. Let's now put the strum pattern on it, and the strum pattern we'll build up to, which is quite nice. Again, do something a bit more advanced, is down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. That sounds quite cool, putting this miss on beat 3. So we're still going to go down with the strum on beat 3, but we're not going to connect with the strings. So we're going down, down, up, miss. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. That can be quite tricky, and you'll naturally want to stop your strum pattern for that miss. You go down, down, up, and hesitate. That's going to obviously cause the rhythm to become uneven, and you'll find it very difficult to get back in time. So the trick is to keep that hand moving. So my hand's then like a pendulum, just moving up and down, keeping the beat, keeping the timing. So it's down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. Right, once you've got that, then let's look at putting it into the verse. So the verse would be, and I only do it's 4 times around this first section. I only do twice, just to kind of save you waiting. So we down, down, up, down, up, C, G, D, G, C, G. Now we'll be 2 times around, but into the bridge, C, D, G, E minor, C, D, G, and this time into the D. depends on that D, we do one bar going to another verse, a second verse, or we do 3 bars of D going into the chorus. And that is it for the verse. Okay, so next up is chorus, and we've just gone back to basically the intro. G, C, G, D. That's it. I'm just going to go around that a couple of times. So G, C, G, D. Twice around that for the chorus, and then we've got 3 bars of G. And there's a little bass line for a couple of bars, and then we go back to G, C, G, and then D. And then we're into another verse. So I'm talking about this first chorus here, so then we go back to a verse 3 after the first chorus. So let's just prompt that together. So we've got G, C, G, D, G, C, G, D, and it's G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba-dum. There's a little bass line there for a couple of bars, and then it goes G, C, G, and then D. Then we're into verse 3. And that's it for the chorus. So again, this song is very similar in regard to the intro, is then the first verse basically, and the chorus as well. So not too mean. But the main thing there is again the speed to build up the strum pattern. Okay, so we've gone through the parts now. Let's look at how it all kind of ties together. So the song starts with the intro. So that's twice around these 4 bars. G, bar 1, C, bar 2, G, bar 3, and D, bar 4. So twice around that. We'll then go into verse, which is the same pattern, those 4 bars, but around 4 times. And then we go into the bridge section, which was C, D, G, E minor. We go in that second time, C, D, G, but then finish with a D chord. So it's C, D, G, E minor, C, D, G, D. After that, if that's the first verse, which we'll say it is, that's the first verse, we do that last D and then back around the verse again. Exactly the same, but that last bar of D in the bridge section, we do 3 times. And that takes us to the chorus. So second verse then goes to the chorus, which is then the same as intro. G, C, G, D, so twice around. And 3 bars of G. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's a little bass riff. And C, and G, and D. So again, it goes around that intro kind of sequence of G, C, G, D. At the end of the chorus, back around the verse again. So verse 3 comes in, same as verse 2. Then we do the 3 bars of D at the end of there, and into the chorus again. It just loops around the G, C, G, D. And that's it. So it's not a complex song. There's really only those few different parts. So intro is the same as verse, is the same as chorus, and it's just this bridge section, the C, D, G, E minor, C, D, G, D, to kind of get your head around. And that's kind of it. So there we have it, Brown Eyed Girl. Look in the description box and you'll see a link to download the structure, the chord sheet, so you can obviously see it a bit more clearly. Any questions, let me know, and make sure you subscribe for next week's Sunday Strummer.